Okay, I'm out here at the base camp, and this is going to be the last Pathfinder challenge video. This is not a challenge, this is just going to be a camp out. If you want to know anything about survival and what to practice and such, check through the Pathfinder challenge phase 1 playlist I have. I have a numerous amount of challenges that you can go and do yourself and research and such and do yourself. It will make you better equipped with knowledge and dirt time to actually, if you are caught in a survival situation. So right now what I have to do, I'm here, I've got 2 feet of snow right here. I'm going to dig this out so I can get into my shelter for one, and I'm going to dig it out for my fire pit. This is actually right here is my reflector wall, and it's 2 feet high or so. So I've got 2 feet of snow all around here. I know that what's going to happen when I start digging this, I only have my snowshoe to dig it with. I know what's going to happen is I'm going to sweat. So I've got to start peeling off layers before I even start. Remember, always stay at a comfortable cold. Then you won't sweat and soak your clothing. Now, today, today's just above 32 kind of deal. Tonight it's going to be below 32, 0 Celsius. So we want to make sure that our clothes don't get damp. I'm going to have a fire going. I'm going to put them over the fire a little bit as well. They're a little bit damp right now from the snowshoe in. So I'm going to start digging, and then when I get it undug, we'll get back to you. But I'm going to start digging a little bit right now. This isn't going to be easy either. It's all packed snow and hard snow. Just got that dug out now. I had to use a tomahawk to break it up. It was a lot of ice almost, it was frozen so hard. Used that plus my snowshoe and I got it down. This here is all level to the inside of the shelter. Got it down a little bit lower. I just built this around so that will add as a windbreak as well. So that's why I put it down, deeper in. As well as it won't, when you build a fire on top of snow, it's going to melt down. This way here, it may melt down only 2 or 3 inches, whatever is underneath this. And that's it. And it's going to dry it up a lot quicker. So let's go over why I just spent so many calories doing this. Like, I've just burned a lot of calories, digging this out and such. Well, you got to think, what's most important out here in winter conditions is your core temperature. That's the most important. I got my shelter dug out, and I got a fire pit. That's most important out here right now. So that's why I spent, the calories. You can spend, last up to 3 weeks without food. So it's worth the, calorie burning to do this, because you only last 3 hours, in exposure. So you got to think of what's most important. Right now, it is your core temperature. I've got shelter and I've got a fire. Next thing is water. I've got to make a fire, and my water source is actually frozen right now. I could go down and chop out some ice, but whenever you melt ice, boil it before you drink it, because there can be bacteria in that ice. Once it melts, it'll come back alive. Snow, you don't have to boil it, you just got to melt it. Now, of course, avoid yellow snow and such, but you look for clean snow and you melt that down. Use that for your drinking water. So that's what I'm going to do now, is take and build a fire lay here, start a fire, start collecting this snow, and start melting some water. Because you only last 3 days without water. So that's my next priority. I've got my core temperature covered. Next is water. It may take a couple strikes to get this going. I didn't process it a whole lot. Usually I don't. As you can see, this thing here was all one solid bush kind of thing. You find these every once in a while. We used to call them squirrel nests. It's actually not though. I'm going to throw that right on top after I get this going. Get some bigger ones to throw on. I had plenty here just in case. Here's some pencil size stuff as well. Now you're good for a couple minutes. I'm going to set up a something to be able to hang my pot over this now. Okay, what I've done thus far is I just stuck in a little bit of snow. I'm going to move that around a little bit. Heat this pot up a little bit. Because, there we go. A little bit of water on there. You're going to let this melt. And move this around and let this melt before you don't fill your pot up, and just leave it in there, because it will actually scorch the bottom of your pot, because it will evaporate in the center and leave your pot dry. You put a little bit like this here in and melt that down first. You can see it starting to melt. Move it around. But you want to melt that down first. There's going to be a little bit of chunks of stuff in it. That's what your, yeah, I see water starting now. That's where your bandana comes into play. You can filter it out if you like. But I'm going to keep throwing a handful of snow in that at a time. What I need to do, get snow that is clean. So I'm going to dig here, dig underneath all the other stuff, see if I can get some clean snow, and just put that in, let that melt down, and I'll put another handful. It's melting down pretty good. Keep throwing this in. You can see there is dirt and so on in it. Basically just stuff that, you know, bark and twigs and spills and stuff, right? You're gonna get that. So like I said, you can just filter that from your bandana or smog, whatever you have. And I'm gonna fill this up full of water, then I'm gonna dump this over into my water bottle and then melt more down. A water bottle here, I have a bandana. Watch you don't stick your bandana to the fire. But I've got gloves on here. That's going to protect my hands from the heat, because you do not want to get a burn out here. That should be okay. Now, let's see if I can position this. It's going to stay there. Take that back out of the fire. I wetted that a little bit just so it would stick in there and not fall out as easy. You gotta watch out for that too. A little close to the fire, but I'm trying to stay in frame. We've got that right up to there, 3/4 of a liter. Good drinking water now. Gonna fill that up and do that again. Okay, I've boiled more, or melted down more water. I'm gonna strain it again. Good thing is I'm wearing polyester, which is a wicking layer for my shirt. I was sweating when I started, but just with the wind out here and my body heat and such, I've actually dried it out. It's dry again. That's the good thing about polyester, it dries out quick. Free. Smoke's choking me out. Okay, that's filled right up now. Got it right up to there. I've got a liter of water here for drinking. I'm going to work more on my fire. My fire's already melted down to the ground. Work more on that and get it going. Keeping the fire going here, just nice little fire. It's melted down now and has a really nice coal bed. Got this high and just slowly melting snow, just keeping it up. I've got a liter here, but I'm going to melt this down and then throw in some fir needles. I'm going to make a fir needle tea out of this. So the thing is like I said, I don't have it right on the heat and such. I'm just slowly melting more snow. But fir needle tea has a lot of vitamins and such. And drinking teas and such in a wilderness situation or just out camping, that nice hot drink is, you know, mentally satisfying as well as it's, you know, satisfying to your body as well. So I'm gonna just slowly melt this down. I'm gonna take some fir twigs, the needles, toss in there, and then when I want to drink it, I'll just strain it through my bandana again, which is over here drying, and into my cup. It's melted down enough now. All I did was take some fir branches, broke them up like that there. Just that size, I'll just throw in there. This is the way I've done it for years. You can do it however you wish. People just chop them up and so on. But research this stuff before you try any wild edibles. I've been doing this for years, but that's me. You may be allergic. So whenever you do wild edibles, do your research. Okay, that's done now, the tea. I've only went until it's basically started to boil. It's hot enough. I'll let that steep a little bit, but that's it. Now a lot of teas, like pine especially, you boil your water and then you put your needles in and let it steep. You don't boil your needles in your water. This here, I didn't boil it for a long time. Just like I said, I just got it up to temperature and I took it off. Now, set that down. I'll take my cloth, wipe this out because this has stuff in it now. And we'll get some tea. There we go, nice cup of tea. And let that cool a little bit. I'll take a little drink. Tastes like a fir tree, and it's hot. Gotta let it cool. Trying to dry out my glove now. Got it over here so it's not right in the flames, and you got to keep an eye on it that you don't burn it. I'm also melting more snow, so I always have more water, because as I drink this I can keep refilling it, because I want to stay hydrated. Out here in the winter you can dehydrate without even very fast and not even realize it until it's too late. So have lots of water. It don't take much to do this. So while I already have the firewood and such I need, all I have to do this, and if this is full, that's full, then I can, you know, start drinking this and keep filling that up and keep on with my water. You can see how much this is burnt down. We still got 3 feet of snow and it's April 11th. Crazy. Okay, I'm gonna get my bed ready now. This here, I switched out this tarp. This one here is only a 6x8. So, I'm gonna lay this in there, and this will go underneath of me. I'm just gonna throw this in there. What I did with the snow was I just kind of leveled it off. And we'll throw this in there, and then put that down the length. Try to get less snow as you can on this, of course. And now I brought a camp mat as well, sleeping pad. Now, normally what you'd do if you didn't have a sleeping pad, you would fill this full of fir boughs up to about a foot. You can do more if you like, but if you do a foot and you have 6 inches or so that is padded down after you lay on it, then that should do you all right. But you can put more if you're cold or not. It's up to you. I'm going to just lay that out, and I've switched up and I brought my sleeping bag, because in these conditions you do not want just a wool blanket. If you only had a wool blanket, then you have to depend on the fire to keep you warm. This here, I'm going to let the fire burn out, and it will be just the sleeping bag that's going to keep me warm. The biggest thing here is I got to make sure I don't get it wet. I'm going to bring this in and lay it out so it don't get wet. Okay. spin this around. There we go. I'll use this, I'll take my jacket, throw in here and use this as a pillow. But that's it set up, and right on the snow, this being used right on the snow, that closed cell sleeping pad works great. I've used it many times. Well, here we are. We're inside. And I'm trying to keep the headlight so it gives some light and such so you can see me. So the fire's going. Hey there, fire's going. And I'm just gonna lay here in the sleeping bag and watch the fire kind of thing, and I'll see you in the morning. I'm up, I'm all packed now, and so I have to head back in. Like I said, this is a camp out in the base camp. And what I would do today is, you always have to remember core temperature and water. It's most important. So what I would do first thing is start my fire again and make sure I have water. After I have water, I would build myself a signal fire, set up my tripod and get that ready. Maybe in a couple spots in here, you know, so when you're walking around getting firewood and such, you hear a plane going overhead, that's when you go over, strike up your fire. But I would do that right after I had a nice warm tea to warm me up. You know, it's a little cold out here this morning. I slept well last night, and you know, I was nice and warm and such because I had a good sleeping bag. That's one of the most important things as well. Make sure if you're going to take cover, make sure you take something that's going to keep you warm out there. I would get a fire going, get some warm tea into me. That'll give me water, it'll hydrate me, plus it'll give me some vitamins and such as well. But then I would start on signal fires. After getting signal fires done, I'd collect a little bit more firewood, and then I would start looking for food. Setting up traps, or you know, make a rabbit stick as well, and carry that while I'm setting up the traps in case I see something and, you know, get lucky and hit something. But that's what I would do after that. I would get my firewood, make a fire, drink my tea, set up my signal fires, and then start looking for wild edibles and so on. Even in the winter, there are a few wild edibles out here, but that would be your next step. If you stay put, they're more likely to find you. But once your resources are gone in this area or getting low, you have to move on. Anyhow, I hope that you liked the survival series. This here, you know, was based on the Pathfinder Phase 1 certification program. It had a lot of really good challenges, so I chose that to take the challenges from and show you all how to actually, you know, do these challenges. So it would make you self-aware and give you dirt time. And actually, you know, if you have this knowledge, if you're caught in a survival situation, you'd be far better off. Anyhow, I hope you enjoyed this series, and check out the playlist, and there might be something there that you don't already know and you would like to know, and I show you a way you can do it and you can go from there. Thanks, and it's been a fun series.